Nintendo just secretly revealed some devastating news in their most recent Nintendo Direct. Well, this news is devastating depending on who you are, because honestly, tons of people thought this was an incredible Nintendo Direct with an insane lineup of games that we're going to talk about later in this video. But one thing is for sure, the future of Nintendo games definitely has gamers split. So today we're going to dive deep and figure out what exactly happened during this Nintendo Direct. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions on everything. And since this Direct happened on September 12th, did Nintendo reveal what I wanted them to reveal on my birthday? Of course, before we jump in, what's going on, guys? Cheers. Now, this Nintendo Direct started off with good vibes because they revealed the Super Mario Galaxy movie for the Mario Brothers 40th anniversary. If you guys didn't know, I think it is September 13th 1985 is when Mario first came out in Japan. And probably my favorite part about the Mario Galaxy movie reveal is that it was actually leaked yesterday by an Old Spice collaboration with Mario for the movie. Like what? Look at this. We have aluminum free underarm body spray featuring Luigi, Yoshi, and I suspect Mario, maybe Peach as well. I don't know. Jesus Christ. Of course, there were some other domain names that were registered as well for this movie, so the internet kind of already thought this might be coming, and now we know it's going to be in theaters April of 2026 and spring of 2026. By the way, based on everything that was revealed in this Direct, is going to be Nintendo dominated. They have so many huge things happening in spring of 2026. It almost makes me wonder if they had some of this stuff supposedly lined up for this holiday season and it just got pushed back. I don't know, but they revealed so much stuff for spring of 2026, and we're going to talk about that later in the video. Along with the Mario movie though, they also revealed a new theme park is opening in Universal Orlando, so that is going to be in Florida. But more interestingly, they revealed that Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are going to have a bundle available this year, October 2nd 2025, so in just what, 2 weeks or something like that. And this is very bizarre because first of all, Mario Galaxy was already released on the Switch 1 with the 3D All-Stars, and beyond that, this is for the Switch 1. Now this is also going to be on the Switch 2, and you will be able to buy these games individually through the eShop. So if you already have Galaxy 1, because you have the 3D All-Stars, you can just buy Galaxy 2 on your Switch or Switch 2 digitally, and that will be the way that you can get your hands on that if you're looking to play the game once again. They also revealed that they are releasing Rosalina's actual book in real life, so this is going to be a hardcover book, I guess, that you can buy and go through the actual pages from the game. I think really big Galaxy fans are going to love this. I personally didn't care for this pretty much at all. And of course, new amiibos coming, but not until April 2nd. So wait, the game bundle is coming out in October and the amiibos are coming out 6 months later. Okay, I guess this is going to release with the movie. I don't know. But then they had an even bigger reveal, and this is a brand new Mario Tennis game, Mario Tennis Fever. Pre-orders starting today on the eShop, coming out February 12th 2026, physically and digitally for, get this, exclusively the Switch 2. And this was the beginning of a crazy trend that I noticed throughout this entire Mario Direct. Of course, Mario Tennis Fever looks fantastic. Kind of a bizarre release date in my opinion, just right in the middle of or the end of winter pretty much. Very bizarre timing there. I guess they're really just trying to spread out the first party releases to keep the sales of the Switch 2 going at a steady rate. And then continuing the Switch 2 trend, we have the Mario Bros Wonder Switch 2 edition with DLC. This is the meetup in Bella Bell Park. This is basically a mini game DLC, but they also announced that more content is going to be coming to the game as well beyond just the Bella Bell Park mini games, and they said they're going to give us more information about that in the future, because we don't actually have a release date for Wonder Switch 2 edition yet. It's just coming in spring of 2026. So there we see our two trends already. First of all, spring of 2026 is going to be mega for Nintendo, and the second trend is Switch 2 content. Stay tuned, because we're going to keep going over some huge changes coming to the Nintendo lineup. Some of you are going to love it, but some of you are really going to hate it. They're also releasing the talking flower like in real life from the trailer. So not sure what that's all about, but it's kind of whimsical and I kind of like it. Next, they revealed a new Yoshi story game. This is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, and I gotta say, I've never loved the Yoshi games purely from a gameplay perspective. Like, they've always just been so insanely easy that I can't get into them. Like, it's too mindless, it's too simple. I could never get into it. But I will say that the art style here is absolutely gorgeous. The game looks so charming, so happy, so beautiful, and this is exactly what I would expect from a new Yoshi game. So honestly, the reveal looked really good. You go through and you collect plants or flowers and you sort of record down what these flowers do in the game, and really the trailer just looked so lighthearted and cute and charming, and I really liked the reveal for this game. But notice the trend, ladies and gentlemen, a brand new Yoshi game. Really exciting stuff here, only on the Switch 2. Then they revealed a few third-party games, and then they got to Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, also coming in spring of 2026, but this will be available on the Switch 1. They literally don't even have a Switch 2 edition here, so very bizarre. Then we see some more third-party reveals with the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, digital coming out October 30th and physical coming out December 12th. Boys, we can't do it. We can't do that. That's disgusting. I absolutely hate everything about that with my entire soul. Like, that is the most it's abysmal. It's disgusting. I hated when the Oblivion remake did it. I hate it when Mortal Kombat does it. Honestly, I'm not going to buy it either way. I've never been a huge Mortal Kombat fan, but I hate the precedent that digital comes out significantly like before physical, because that's just going to kill physical game sales. So kind of obnoxious here, right? Can't really stand it. Also, same thing with Sonic Cross Worlds, right? Like, that's got a physical release, but it's coming later. Can't stand it. It's just the worst practice imaginable for physical releases, but it is coming for Switch and Switch 2. Then they revealed Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, January 22nd, 2026, only on Switch 2. Pre-orders start today. Huge reveal for Hades 2 with Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, which apparently will be 120 frames per second at 1080p on the Switch 2, which is kind of insane. This was a big trailer and the game does look really good. They announced Kirby Air Riders Amiibo and a new Air Riders Direct coming soon, and these amiibo, I guess, feature a switchable character, so you can move the characters off of their rider and onto the other one. Kind of cool stuff here, but I don't know if I think the days of the amiibo for me are behind me. Then we finally got a release date for Age of Imprisonment. So Hyrule Warriors is coming out exclusively for the Switch 2 November 6th, 2025. Pre-orders begin today on the eShop. The trailer looks fantastic, and there will be a game share from the Switch 2 to the Switch 1, just like Donkey Kong Bananza, and we do have some Donkey Kong Bananza news to talk about later in the video. But of course, the game itself is only available on Switch 2, just really nice for that multiplayer feature. Then they revealed Dragon Quest VII Reimagined for Switch and Switch 2. The release date is February 5th, 2026. So again, that spring time frame is just gonna be banger after banger. I don't know if they announced anything for January, by the way. So January is going to be a slow month, I guess. That's going to be after holiday anyway, so I guess they're expecting not many people to buy stuff that time anyway, so I don't know. But either way, then they announced the Virtual Boy is coming to the Switch 1 and 2 online expansion pack, and you can buy the actual sort of headset here, which you slide your screen into, you slide your Switch or Switch 2 into, and you can use this accessory to play 14 games that will be released over time, which, as far as I know, I don't even know what the library looks like for this console, but 14 games feels like probably it's got to be almost the entire library for this thing, because it was a catastrophic failure. This is really cool, but really gimmicky, and also, who asked, right? Like, I mean, I guess Wario Land is cool, but that's kind of it. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think anyone in 2025 is going to be able to deal with the red screen pressed right up against their face. I don't know. Either way, I think some people are going to be excited about this, but it's going to be mega niche and more of a collectible thing, I think. They also revealed that there's going to be a not only this plastic accessory that you can order from Nintendo Switch, from Nintendo directly, but there's also going to be a cardboard model that I suspect will be much cheaper if you don't want to go for the entire entire plastic accessory here. Again, who asked? Then they announced Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly remake, only on Switch 2 early 2026. Then we also saw One Piece is getting a Switch 2 edition in the fall of this year. Not really sure who asked for that. We're also going to be getting Overcooked is going to be getting a Switch 2 edition. Again, not really sure who asked, but it's coming out this year. And Stardew Valley, this one got the chat moving. 4 friends local multiplayer. 4 players can share just a single copy of the game, and we have mouse controls for the Switch 2. So the Switch 2 edition here, I do think will be beloved by many people who want a console where they can play this on the go and have mouse controls. Of course, you could just play it on a laptop, but if you don't want to carry around a laptop, you got the Switch 2 now. They revealed Power Wash Simulator, which I guess some people care about. I don't. We also have the Switch and Switch 2 are getting a new Suika game, which is called Suika Game Planet. And the new gimmick here is that it is a circular fruit dropping game. It looks like the gameplay is pretty much the same, but you drop things in a circle and you can rotate around the circle. There's also 4-player multiplayer as well locally with game share, as far as I can tell. So cool stuff there for the people who enjoyed the game. I thought the game was cool. But then we got freaking Metroid Prime 4 shows up. We got Samus on a freaking motorcycle riding through the desert here, and this trailer looked absolutely sick. This actually got me excited for Metroid Prime 4. I honestly couldn't believe how cool this looked, but there is one thing that I have to say about this, okay? If you are riding a motorcycle through the open world in Metroid Prime 4, you better be playing on the Switch 2 version, because you and I both know this is gonna run like absolute dookie on the Switch 1. Now I will say it's kind of a vast open world with nothing around, like there ain't nothing there, right? So I mean, maybe the Switch 1 can kind of handle it, but I mean, look, the Switch 2 edition, I suspect, will be a huge improvement over the Switch 1 edition. It's kind of sad almost that the Switch 1 is even getting this game, because it's just holding back what the game could be, right? Like if they developed this exclusively for the Switch 2, it would be leaps and bounds better than what it's bound to be. So, but yeah, either way, the game looks fantastic. I think the Switch 2 edition is going to be the way to play it, especially now that we see this new motorcycle open world traversal system. Really cool stuff. Got me excited for Metroid Prime 4. I was kind of like, my excitement for this game was like maybe, you know, a 5 out of 10, but now it's probably like a 7 out of 10. So I've never been a huge Metroid guy, but this one might get me jumping back into the franchise for sure. And we got some new amiibos, 2 of which are coming out in November, 1 coming out in December. Really not sure what they're doing with these amiibo releases, guys. But of course, we did get a December 4th release date for Metroid Prime 4, so it makes sense. Prime 4 on the 4th day of the month. Cool stuff there. I like to see it. Next, they announced Donkey Kong Bananza DLC dropping today, and I think it is already out at the time of recording this. It covers DK Island and Emerald Rush, and Emerald Rush looks like more of the same smashing that you've been doing, but it has a roguelike twist to it, where when you get fossils, you actually get to choose a different perk, and you stack these perks to be able to basically farm and crush as many emeralds as possible. You get emeralds from defeating monsters and things like that in the world. So honestly, to me, this didn't look that exciting, but they really emphasized that this is paid DLC already for Donkey Kong Bananza, and it is $20. Okay, so originally Donkey Kong Bananza was a $70 game. Now we already have DLC, so if you want the complete Donkey Kong Bananza experience, it will cost you $90. All right, now here's the thing. I'm so confused, right? I think that what was the strategy here, right? Like Nintendo announced $80 games for the Switch 2, right? And then they went ahead and said, just kidding, some games aren't going to be 80, they're going to be 70, and then Donkey Kong Bonanza is released, right? And everyone's like, oh great, this game's fantastic, right? And I do think that that game is worth $70 in my opinion. I have it. I think the game's fantastic, one of the best like smashable platformers out there, right? But if you were going to release this DLC, right, like clearly they didn't start making this after releasing Bonanza, right? Obviously this has been in development since before Bonanza came out. There's no way they built this entire DLC since July 17th when Bonanza came out. So they've always had this in the plans, right? Like why wouldn't they just include this mini game into the base game and make it $80? You know what I mean? I know the answer is that they can make more money if they do 70 plus 20 because that's 90. And also maybe a lot of people don't care about this, and also maybe this wasn't ready for launch, but they needed to get the game out the door, so that was how they handled it, right? I think all of that can be true. I think, you know, all of those things might be true simultaneously. They wanted to make more money and it wasn't ready, and they think people maybe don't care about this enough. So I don't know, but either way, it just felt really weird to have them reveal paid DLC already. I would almost have like rather had them push this out into, you know, October or November, so that way at least we could be like, oh well, we haven't played Bananza in a while, so now we can, you know, yeah, it's paid, but we can go back and play something new, right? But here it's like you just launched the game like 3 months ago. But the flip side of that argument is that, like, if they had raised the price of Donkey Kong Bonanza from $70 to $80, how many people do you think would have not bought it? The answer is pretty much zero, right? Like everyone who was gonna buy it for 70 was also gonna buy it for 80. Like maybe you would lose 5% of your sales, something like that. Like it's really, you know, if you were an early adopter of the Switch 2 and you bought Donkey Kong Bonanza, like you were gonna spend 80 on Bonanza, let's be real. And so if they had included this into the game for 80, right, like they could have made more money selling the same number of copies for 80 compared to the same number of copies for 70. I guess maybe they're thinking like if they just drop the DLC right now before any of the other cool stuff comes out, like this is we are before the Legends ZA comes out, we're before Metroid, like there's really nothing to play on the Switch 2 right now, right? So like, oh, maybe we'll drop it now and maybe a lot of people will buy it, right? But honestly, I think a lot of people won't buy it. A lot of people will not go. They're like, they've had their fix of Bonanza, you know what I mean? Like we've been playing Bonanza for 2 months now, we're good on that, right? I don't want to buy DLC right now, so it's not like they're gonna make more money selling it separately for 20 as opposed to bundled for 10, because like I think a lot of people just aren't gonna buy it, you know what I mean? Whereas if they had just bundled it with an extra 10 bucks, well now everyone would have it, you know what I mean? Like I think they would have made more money, I think, if they had just made the game 80 bucks and included this. I don't know, it feels really bizarre. Typical Nintendo, right? Then they announced Pokemon Poketopia for 2026 exclusively for Switch 2. This game actually looks really nice, I will admit, although as I've said in recent videos, I don't think I'm going to be spending money on any Pokemon related things because of what they've been doing with Pal World. If you guys missed that, check out my most recent video. But Pokemon Poketopia is basically a sort of Minecraft slash Animal Crossing ripoff almost. It's like a simulation slash farming game, and you can recruit Pokemon to help you, you know, keep your island alive. Basically, the game looks really charming, it looks really cute. I think the game looks really good. This is, you know, this is something that I'm almost certain my girlfriend would love, right? Like this is right up her alley. And also the fact that you play as a Ditto that looks like a human is kind of crazy. Like I love the idea and the concept of this, but there it is again, there is the theme of this Nintendo Direct exclusively for Switch 2. Next up, they announced Legends ZA. They announced a couple of different things here. First of all, the X and Y starters are getting Mega Evolutions, and they also announced paid DLC before the game's even out. So we have Legends ZA, okay, coming to Switch and Switch 2. We have a Switch 2 edition. The Mega Dimension is paid DLC that will feature 2 Mega Evolutions for Raichu. So Raichu is going to have an X Mega Evolution and a Y Mega Evolution, just like Charizard, just like Mewtwo. It's going to be 2 different Mega Evolutions. They look not great, honestly. It's just either the tail splits in 2 for the X or the ears split in 2 for the Y. It's kind of whatever, I don't really care about it at all. But either way, it's gonna have additional story content, and it just feels really weird. Again, it feels weird to announce paid DLC before the game even comes out, in my opinion. We don't know how much this is going to cost. I suspect 20 bucks maybe, just like the Bonanza DLC. It is coming to both the Switch and Switch 2 versions, so don't expect this to be like something crazy awesome that's optimized for the Switch 2. It's gonna run like garbage. And on the same point, right, like they revealed a new trailer for Legends ZA, and they're really hyping this game up. Like they're really trying to make it look super action packed. And even with that, right, like, and that might be true, the game does look very action packed, but even throughout this trailer, you can still see that the buildings have their windows painted on, the balconies painted on. The game just, it looks like garbage, dude. It looks so like visually god awful. Like this looks like, again, I've said this once, I've said it a million times, it looks like stock Unity assets. The art style that is beloved by Pokemon fans is gone, right? The art direction, there's no no identity here. There's no art identity to Pokemon anymore. It just looks like generic 3D models with horrible lighting, no voice acting, terrible 3D environments. Like, it's just, the game looks so bad, and people are in denial. They're going to be in denial in the comment section below. The truth is really going to hurt when they finally get their hands on the game. The gameplay looks fine. I'm not here to trash the gameplay. Like, if you liked the first Legends, you might like this, even though this is only in one singular city. But either way, like, I just can't get over how absolutely awful this game looks in terms of like its graphics, its art style, the shadows. It just looks like they didn't put like a lot of time into it. It looks like it's 2 years away from coming out, but we're a month out, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the ZA news. Pretty much all bad news in my opinion. Like, paid DLC before launch, and the game still looks horrible a month before it comes out. They're trying really hard to push this thing. They're announcing all these megas, fan favorites. They're making the trailers look super action packed, jump cuts every 2 seconds so you don't look too closely at how god awful the environments are, or the leaves, or the grass, or anything, right? They're trying really hard to make this game look good and really hype it up, and the sad part is a lot of people are buying it. A lot of people are completely naive, completely just turning their brains off, not looking at this objectively. The game objectively looks like it could come out on the Wii U. It's just whatever. Let's move on to what they revealed next is Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection, and also a Dynasty Warriors game. Monster Hunter Stories 3 is coming for the Switch 2 exclusively March 13th 2026. Then we got a brand new Resident Evil game announced, Resident Evil Requiem, coming out exclusively for the Switch 2 on February 27th 2026. This might be a timed exclusive, I don't remember exactly, but the Switch 2 is getting an exclusive Resident Evil game, and they're also remaking Resident Evil 7 Biohazard and Village. And then the final announcement was a brand new Fire Emblem game, which honestly looked really cool. I haven't played a Fire Emblem game in a very long time. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave announced for the Switch 2 exclusively, and I don't think they gave us a release date for that. I think they just said it's coming out in 2026. Yeah, they didn't even give a spring 2026. So that's everything that was announced today at the Nintendo Direct. So why did I say at the beginning of the video that some people would love this and some people would hate this? Well, realistically, that lineup is insane. I mean, this was an hour long, and it was packed full of franchises that people really loved. We got more information about Mario games, we got Mario Tennis, we got a Switch 2 edition of Wonder, we got a new Yoshi game, we got a new Tomodachi Life, we got a bunch of Switch 2 editions for beloved games, we got more information about Metroid Prime 4, Bonanza DLC, new Pokemon games, Pokemon DLC. Like, there's actually a lot here, a new Resident Evil and a new Fire Emblem. There's so much that people are really excited about from this Direct. But here's the thing, notice how much of the exciting stuff is only coming to Switch 2. Let's take a look here. Mario Tennis Fever, the expansion pack for Mario Bros. Wonder, new Yoshi game exclusively Switch 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake Switch 2, Age of Imprisonment Switch 2, the new Minecraft Pokemon game exclusively for Switch 2, Monster Hunter Stories 3 Switch 2, Resident Evil Requiem Switch 2, Fire Emblem Switch 2. All of the biggest reveals from this entire thing are only coming to the Switch 2. So what does that mean? Well, I think it's pretty clear, you guys. We are in the final days of the Switch 1. Switch 1 support is only going to get worse from here, and I'm gonna be honest, it looks like Switch 1 support is going to just drop off a cliff. If people thought that they were going to do Switch 1 and Switch 2 editions throughout the rest of 2026, here's your wake-up call. It's over. The Switch 2 is here. The Switch 1 is done. Okay, enjoy Pokémon Legends ZA, enjoy Metroid Prime, but that's pretty much all she wrote for the Switch 1, and that is it, because there's no way that we're gonna get all of these Switch 2 exclusives in early 2026, and then what, the second half of 2026 all those games are going to be coming out on both consoles? I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. Almost impossible, almost a 0% chance. Of course, if Switch 2 sales fall off a cliff, then maybe, but I mean, they would have to start building that in now, right? Like, you got to think months and months, if not a year in advance for those things to really fit this into the technical form factor of the Switch 1. So the bad news for this direct is that all of the massive new things coming from Nintendo are Switch 2 exclusives. And here's the deal, guys. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but Nintendo has already raised the price of the old Switch. They've already raised the price of all the accessories, and they've already said that they may need to revisit the price of the Switch 2 as global trade remains more uncertain moving forward. Okay, so here's the thing. Switch 2 is probably going to get a price increase in the next 12 months. I would not be surprised if that's the case. I would honestly be more surprised if that wasn't the case, right? So we know that the future of Nintendo is Switch 2. They have doubled down, they have committed to it. That's it. The Switch 1 is it is getting sunset as we speak right now. In the next 3 months, the Switch 1 is being sunset. Okay, now there's still going to be third-party games coming out, and there's probably still going to be, you know, eShop games and all this other stuff, but the big first-party games, Mario Tennis Fever, we have Yoshi, the new Yoshi game, Pokemon Poketopia, we have Resident Evil, Fire Emblem, all the big games are coming only to Switch 2. So if your hope was to not buy the Switch 2 and just stick with the Switch 1 for the next year, you're gonna miss out on all the new games, right? And again, this was obviously going to be the case. The Switch 1 sold tremendously well out of the gate. A lot of people picked it up, and as much as there's been negative backlash online towards Nintendo since then, the train has left the station. We are marching forward, and if you stay on the Switch 1, you will be left behind. There will not be that many more games coming out for the Switch 1. That is my prediction right now. I could be wrong, but based on what we saw from this hour-long Nintendo Direct, the Switch 1 support is really dwindling faster than I thought, to be honest with you. Like Pokemon Poketopia and the new Mario Tennis, those look like games that probably could work on the Switch 1, but they're not. They're choosing deliberately not to support the Switch 1 here. And so I'm gonna be real, you guys. Look, if you want these games, you know, controversy or not, right, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, are there going to be Nintendo games that you care about and want? If the answer is yes, then you're eventually going to need a Switch 2. I got that. That's just that's it, right? They're not going to keep supporting the Switch 1. So eventually you are going to need a Switch 2 if you want all the newest Nintendo games. A lot of you, I know you don't care about Nintendo anymore, but a lot of you still do. And like I said, the price of the Switch 2, I would not be surprised if it goes up in the next 12 months. Okay, they've already hinted at it twice. All right, they've tried to warn you, and I'm here to echo that message. Like, look, you probably want to get a Switch 2 in the next couple of months, maybe for holiday, or if you really care about it, right? And look, this is a tiny YouTube channel. I'm not sponsored. I'm not a Nintendo shill. You know, I don't care what you spend your money on, right? Buy stocks, buy bonds, protect your future, right? Invest, do things like that. Take care of your family, spend your money on things that matter most to you. Okay, I don't care what you do with your money, but I'm here to tell you that the Switch 1 support is being sunset fast. The Switch 2 price is probably going to go up, and some of these big first party games are already announced as they Switch 2 exclusive. So a lot of people are going to find this fantastic. Everyone who's already bought a Switch 2, great news. All these fantastic games are coming to the Switch 2, and you're going to have the definitive versions of all these games, and you're going to have exclusives going into spring of 2026. But really bad news for those of you that were thinking you could hold on to your Switch 1 for another 12 months. If you guys thought that the Switch 2 sales were going to be so bad that they were going to continue to support the Switch 1 moving forward in the next 12 months, bad news. That looks like it is not the case. But guys, that's everything that we're going to go over in today's video. Those are all the games that I cared about and sort of my thoughts and opinions on everything. Personally, as somebody who has a Switch 2, I think the lineup looks fantastic. I'm really hoping, you know, still holding out for a new 3D Mario game, still holding out for a new Smash Bros game, still holding out for, you know, tons of other franchises. But so far the Switch 2 looks like it's got a great lineup moving into 2026. But what we have revealed for 2025 so far looks like it's all we're gonna get, boys. So Age of Imprisonment, Metroid Prime 4, like these are the big games left, and Kirby Air Riders. That's pretty much it for the rest of the year. So either way, some good looking stuff, guys. If you enjoyed the video, consider dropping a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel a ton. It's a small channel and it helps me beat the YouTube algorithm. If you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the bell to be notified the next time I upload a video. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below telling me what you think about this Nintendo Direct, and tell me what you think about Nintendo early sunsetting the Switch 1. Let me know. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Omniarch. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.